You've heard of unconditional love, but have you heard of the secret to unconditional happiness and allowing more into your life? More wealth, more success, and more love. More freedom in your life right now. Welcome to the Happy Bar with Israel Savage. I wanted to start right off the bat with talking just for a little bit about the importance of mindset, of really lining up with the way you want the outcome to feel for any task that you're doing before you even do that task. And so really, in other words, paying attention to how you feel, making that a priority, becoming more aware of how you feel. Now, our goal isn't to feel happy all the time, to be bouncing off the walls. And our goal is especially not to fake it, right? Because you can't fake it. The universe and your greater self know better. And the universe and your greater self and casting directors and your significant other, they don't listen to your words. They listen to what you mean, the emotion underneath your words, right? And so it's not enough to say, I'm so confident. I just know I'm going to get this job. Right? It's the emotion underneath. And so it's not about the words. It's not about faking it. It's just about checking in with yourself and going easy on yourself, not beating yourself up about wherever you are, starting to pay more and more attention to that, and truly beginning to understand that the results are going to mirror almost exactly how you felt as you did the task. I had this happen this week. I started the day before. I got a little annoyed, a little angry. There's a little anger there. And then the next day, it sort of continued. I was dealing with some topics that are triggers for me. Because when you pick up any subject, it really is two subjects. It's the having of that thing and the not having of that thing. And my practiced habit of thinking about these topics was one of lack, was one of anger, was one. And so when I pick that topic up, that's what I pick up. There's an angry feeling associated with it. And so I have to be aware of that. Doesn't mean we avoid those topics forever, but it does mean we need to juice up. We need to be in our best feeling place. Listen, the time to call your mother, or most mothers, isn't when you need help and support and love and kindness, at least in my family, right? Because you may get it or you may not, right? And so you want to call when you're in your best feeling place, when you don't need the love and support. Of course, you would love to have it, but you have already given the love and support to yourself, right? And so I had these tasks that I started to do, and I began to notice these were things that I had to take care of with phone calls and some other things that I had to get done and move forward. And I started to notice that I was snippy with the people on the other end of the phone. Now, granted, they might have been snippy first, but here's what happens when you focus on anything. You line up with it emotionally. You line, especially for actors, because that's what we do, right? You line up with that thing emotionally. I could prove it to you. We've done this exercise many times where we recall our happiest memory from childhood. And then you start to, as you think about that thing, the reason we focused on your happiest memory and not your most tragic memory from childhood is because when you pick up that topic, your practiced habit of thought is a happy one, right? And so when you pick up that topic, there's a happy feeling associated with it. And so that happy feeling, even though it was associated with a past memory, becomes your present reality when you pick it up. Does that make sense? And so whatever you focus on and give your emotional attention to, you will line up with. And this is a great time to talk about and distinguish between empathy and compassion. Compassion is a great thing. Compassion means I see where you are. I appreciate where you are. I appreciate the challenges of where you are. I get it. I hear you. I see you. That's compassion. Empathy is, I see where you are. I see where you are. I'm going to join you where you are. You're sinking, and I think I'll just jump in the quicksand right there with you, and we can hold each other as we sink and die together. Right? That's empathy. No one on this planet has ever helped a sick person get well by becoming sick themselves. Right? You don't help a poor person become wealthier by becoming poor yourself. Now you might say, "Oh, but you could give them all your money." But if you and they are not in a practiced vibration, habit of wealth, then they're just going to lose it all again, because they're going to give their attention to a poor person and go right back to that spot again. So compassion, yes. Empathy, be aware. Be aware with what you empathize with, because you line up with it. You line up with it, and it's not necessary. It does not serve the person you are empathizing with or the situation you are empathizing with. You have to remain in a space and hold a space for that person so that they can choose in a place of non-resistance to line up with you instead. Does that make sense? And so that is empathy and compassion. Now, what we focus on, we line up with emotionally, including results. And so back to my example. And so this poor person who probably was having a difficult time. I probably was also reading a lot into how she answered the phone. I said something like, "How are you doing? You sound like you could be doing better." Right. So I was a little snippy on the phone, and I focused on her and where she might have been at, or where I thought she might be at. And then I lined up with it. Now, she is not to blame, because had I not been already orbiting in a similar feeling place as she was, then I wouldn't have been so easily sucked in. Right. If I had a practiced habit around that topic that was a higher one, I probably wouldn't have even noticed that she herself was a little snippy or out of sorts. And she would have joined with me. And so anyway, I started to see pretty quickly that the results I was getting just weren't lining up. I was working and working, trying to get this thing done, and I was missing the people. They weren't in the office. I was getting annoyed and angry. I was being told things, and I said, wait a second. Nothing good feeling is going to come from this not good feeling space. So let me just leave this for a little while and come back to it. And I did. I came back to it, and everything lined up. Everything. I mean, I finished something yesterday or sometime earlier this week that other folks had worked on for 2 years, and they weren't able to put a bow on in one day. It all came together, right? It never would have come together if I hadn't taken the time to line up with better feeling results. If you liked what you just heard, then take inspired action now. That's right, act while you are feeling good. And build on your momentum. Schedule your free discovery call with me at instudios-nyc.com/happy bar.